Have you ever felt flat for hours and then crisis made you instantly alert? That shift can feel like it means that chaos brings you to life. But it may be doing something more specific. It may be activating you. Today, I want to show you what crisis can temporarily supply, why that can feel so vivid, and how to notice aliveness that doesn't require an emergency. The distinction we're making is activation is not aliveness. Let's go back to our example, Alex. It's a quiet Saturday. Nothing's wrong. Nobody needs an answer. There's time to rest, make food, read, go outside, call someone, or do absolutely nothing. But that quiet doesn't feel peaceful. It feels flat. Then the phone rings. A friend is in crisis. Something's gone wrong. Now there's a problem to understand, a person to help, and a sequence of decisions to make. Within minutes, Alex feels focused, useful, present. That's a paradox. Nothing in Alex's life has improved. The situation became harder, yet Alex suddenly feels more alive. So, what changed? I'm using the word activation in this episode to mean four temporary functions a crisis can supply: salience, focus, role, and a sense of presence. Let me translate that. Salience means one thing stands out as important. Before the call, Alex had 20 possible ways to spend the afternoon, and none of them pulled very strongly. After the call, one problem moved to the center of the focus. Focus means attention has somewhere specific to go. Listen, ask questions, understand what happened, decide what comes next. Role means Alex knows who to be for the next hour: the helper, the savior, the steady one, the person who can contribute. And presence means the moment feels immediate. Someone is here, something is happening, the next action is clear. Put those four together and you get activation. The day that felt blurry now has an edge. The person who felt distant now feels recruited into the moment. That can feel extremely good, even when the event itself is painful. Watch the sequence more closely here. The phone rings. Alex sits up. The room that felt dull a minute ago suddenly feels irrelevant because attention has locked onto the voice on the other end. Alex opens a notes app, writes down what happened, asks what has already been tried, and starts putting events into order. Nothing magical entered the room. Uncertainty was reduced. Before the call, Alex had to choose a direction. After the call, the situation supplied one. Before the call, Alex had to decide what would feel useful. After the call, usefulness came built into the role. Before the call, connection was optional. After the call, contact felt necessary. That's why activation can be confused with energy arriving from nowhere. Sometimes what arrived wasn't more life, it was more direction. And direction can be relieving. It can remove the discomfort of choosing, the ambiguity of a quiet day, and the question of what deserves your attention. That's the mechanism we're examining. I'm not talking about a secret love of suffering. This is not proof that Alex wants anyone harmed. A crisis can simply perform several organizing functions at the same time. Let's be a bit more precise. Research on research on arousal and acute stress doesn't show that crisis makes people think better. Arousal, by arousal I mean excitation. Arousal can strengthen attention and memory for whatever already has priority. At the same time, acute stress can impair working memory and flexibility. In ordinary language, one thing may become very clear while the wider picture becomes harder to hold. You may know exactly what needs to happen next in the next 5 minutes and still have a harder time holding the larger pattern in mind. So, activation can feel like clarity without producing broader clarity. Sam Vaknin talks about why external drama can become compelling. Outside demands, messages, decisions, and emotional intensity can become loud enough to drown out conflict or noise inside. Vaknin also describes drama as temporarily organizing. It can provide attention, purpose, and direction. Notice the word temporarily. If you feel diffuse, uncertain, bored, lonely, or internally noisy, a crisis can organize the next hour. It tells you what deserves attention. It gives your energy somewhere to go. That's why the experience can feel like life returning. But activation has a limit. The crisis may tell you what to do, it doesn't necessarily tell you what you value. It may give you a role, it doesn't necessarily help you know who you are outside that role. It may produce a powerful memory. It doesn't necessarily create a nourishing experience. Here's where activation gets misread. High emotional volume can feel like proof of meaning or vitality. It isn't proof. It only shows that the moment was intense. And this isn't an argument against intensity. Joy can be intense. Sexuality can be intense. Art, exercise, adventure, protest, grief, celebration, and service can all be intense. Real emergencies also exist. Caregiving can legitimately demand a total focus. Responding energetically doesn't prove that you caused the crisis, manufactured it, or secretly needed it. The pattern we're examining isn't whether a crisis ever activates you, it's whether a crisis has become the primary route through which presence becomes available. The primary route through which presence becomes available. That observation alone doesn't establish motive, manipulation, addiction, trauma history, or personality disorder. Calm needs the same careful treatment. Calm isn't proof of health. A person can be calm and connected. A person can be calm and distant. A person can be calm because life feels safe or because nothing feels reachable. Flatness isn't proof of illness either. Sometimes quiet is simply unfamiliar. Sometimes the activity in front of you doesn't hold attention or personal meaning. Sometimes the reason is clinical, situational, medication related, or outside what we can assess here. So one quiet afternoon can't tell the story of your whole psychology. In Alex's example, the contrast is narrower. Before the call, Alex had freedom but no pull. After the call, Alex had pressure and a clear sequence. The energy didn't appear from nowhere. The emergency organized attention. And that's the key. A crisis can arrive with built in instructions. Ordinary life often doesn't. A quiet afternoon doesn't announce which conversation deserves attention, which task could become absorbing, or which form of contribution would feel satisfying. It leaves those possibilities open. That openness can feel like emptiness when direction has been arriving from outside. But the absence of an assigned role isn't the absence of life. It only means the moment isn't organizing you automatically. This helps explain why non emergency aliveness can be easy to miss. It may begin at a lower volume. Curiosity may appear as a small pull rather than a command. Connection may begin with an ordinary exchange rather than a desperate call. Absorption may build gradually instead of arriving as an adrenaline surge. None of those moments has to feel dramatic to be real. The point isn't that quiet engagement is morally better than intensity. The point is that the two experiences organize attention differently. One recruits you through pressure, the other may become visible only when you notice what is already drawing you in. Feeling organized by a crisis isn't the same as being nourished by it. Feeling useful isn't the same as knowing yourself. Feeling present for an emergency isn't the same as having access to the presence in ordinary life. Activation is real. It's just that it's not the whole experience of aliveness. What I mean by aliveness means a broader capacity for engaged presence, curiosity, absorption, play, creativity, movement, service, connection. None of those experiences has to be dramatic. None of none of them has to compete with a crisis. A person can become absorbed in cooking, repairing something, making music, studying, writing, building, walking, or talking with someone. The experience can be vivid without anyone being endangered. The book OLNE brilliantly points out that communication, consent, trust, empathy, flexibility, and intentional agreements can create order without uncontrolled chaos. A bond can be vivid and responsive without needing disorder to prove that it is alive. That supports the central point here. Engaged presence can be built through participation, not only summoned by pressure. So here's a compact application. What do you do with this information? For 1 week, keep an aliveness without emergency log. Once a day, for the next week, record one moment of curiosity, absorption, play, creativity, movement, service, or connection that didn't require danger, conflict, or rescue. Keep it small. You can keep a journal or use a journal app if you have an iPhone. If you didn't know you had a journal app on your iPhone, pull up your search on your app and type in journal. Maybe you became absorbed in making breakfast. Maybe you laughed during a conversation. Maybe you noticed color, sound, warmth, or movement during a walk. Maybe you became curious about a subject for 10 minutes. Maybe you contributed to something without becoming responsible for everyone involved. An entry could be as simple as I noticed the smell of breakfast and stayed with it for a few seconds. Or I repaired a loose cabinet hinge and became absorbed in getting it aligned. Or I laughed with someone during a conversation that had no problem to solve. The entry doesn't have to describe a peak experience. It doesn't have to be productive, impressive, social, or memorable. You're recording a moment that already happened, not assigning yourself another performance. A moment can be quiet, brief, and ordinary and mundane, while still showing that your attention was participating in your life. Over several days, the log may show that presence wasn't entirely absent. Some of it may have been quieter, slower, and less commanding than crisis. This is called mindfulness. Don't score the experience. Don't ask whether it was intense enough. This is not a competition between ordinary life and crisis. You're only noticing forms of presence that may be quieter and easier to miss. This log is a noticing prompt. It is not diagnosis, screening, treatment, behavioral activation, therapy, or a substitute for appropriate care. Now imagine the friend's crisis has ended. The friend is safe. The plan is clear. The phone is quiet again. Alex notices what the emergency supplied: one priority, one role, a next action, contribution, a contact. There's no self attack, diagnosis, or demand to become a different person by tomorrow. Chaos wasn't creating life from nothing, it was organizing attention in a very particular way. Chaos may still activate you. An emergency may still focus you, intensity may still feel good, but activation is not aliveness. Aliveness is the growing capacity to participate in your own experience when nothing is forcing you to be there. And that brings us to episode 5 on the next episode. How love can help you feel known without becoming the authority that invents who you are. That's where we're going to go to next. Maybe the title of the next episode being Let Love Reflect You, Not Invent You. Recognition is not definition. Thanks for your alive attention. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
I don't want the version who's frightening to stay in. I held you too close like I could stop the changing. I don't want devotion built from locked doors. I want your honest hands when they choose this shore. Go where your heart can still hear itself. Become who you are when no one is watching. And if you return, let it be because your name still felt light in the dark and the rush. I don't wanna own you, I wanna know you. I want the one who comes back on their own. Every open road still carry you toward me. Every open road still carry you home. Some days love is quiet, just a door left open. No chains on the future, no vows left broken. We can change like weather, still mean the same. Two people away, choosing the flame. Go where your heart can still hear it. Become who you are when no one is watching. And if you return, let it be because your name still felt light in the dark and the rush. I don't wanna own you, I wanna know you. I want the one who comes back on their own. Every open road still carried you toward me. Every open road still carried you home. If we meet again, let it not be fear, let it be the calm of a love stayed clear. No locked up promise, no desperate hope, just two free hearts.